What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, this Holiday Cup team, let me tell you guys, I went 17-3 with it. Yes, my worst set that I had was a 4-win, 1-loss. Dunsparce, Skeledirge, and Palossand. Palossand is the safe swap here, and this team just put in work. I'm going to be completely honest, it put in work because of a few things. Firstly, the synergy that this team has, the cross coverages, and also that Dunsparce lead is very good in this meta. Drill Run and Rock Slide has a lot of coverage against very common Pokemon. And Palossand and Skeledirge really do well at locking down Vigoroths and have hard-hitting charge moves in order to do neutral or super effective damage after that matchup. This team was it was absolutely beautiful. So let me know what teams you guys are running in the Holiday Cup. I want to give some community teams a try this week, as it's a very fun meta, if I'm being completely honest. I really love the Holiday Cup every time it comes around, so let's get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle, Dunsparce on the lead versus Vigoroth. This is going to be the hardest lead you probably face off against, so we're going to go ahead and go into Palossand, and their best answer is a Lanturn. Palossand right here just puts in work. Mudshot and Scorching Sands is a beautiful combination, and because of our ground typing, we resist the fast move of Spark, which most Lanturns that I faced today were running. But I believe Water Gun is going to do better in this meta as my personal take for that. Now we do get a shield right there. Surf does quite a bit of damage. It is super effective because we are part ground typing, but we can safely let it go. It's not going to be enough to KO, and Spark is not threatening whatsoever. So what I'm hoping to do is to potentially farm down with Mudshot, but they're close to another Surf. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw, not even risk it. I would rather take this and just take Switch right here, because the second thing is Vigoroth can't farm us down before we get to a Scorching Sands, which means they have to throw their energy, which is perfect. Had they fully committed to farm down, we get the Scorching Sands, right? And either get the final shield, maybe a debuff. Who knows? But we got Skeledirge now versus Vigoroth. Now, Skeledirge does need to watch out for Rock Slide, but it's not enough to KO, especially when you're at near full HP. I do decide to shield, calling the Rock Slide. Thankfully, it wasn't a Body Slam shield bait. I'm going to go ahead and go for Disarming Voice now to try to get that final shield from my opponent. But just know that your Skeledirge can survive that as we go ahead and look to load up on some more energy. Now, this is obviously going to be another Rock Slide coming through, but as you guys will see, we can easily survive. That is totally fine. And now we're going to go ahead and go for the charge move, but they swap and they go into a Charge-a-Bug, which is actually really good for us because it is a bug-type Pokemon, which means Dunsparce with Rollout and Rock Slide is going to be putting in some work. I should have just kept loading up on energy. Honestly, I need the back-to-back charge move, so this was a mistake on my end to go for CMP tie. What I should do now is make it a great and not an excellent. Reason being, it's not going to be enough to KO, and that way I can farm down. I will get hit with another charge move here, so this is unfortunate. I should be able to survive, and then we should be able to farm down and have a charge move ready to go for the Vigoroth. So able to recover right there. A slight misplay on my end on the initial CMP tie, but I came back with it with a good undercharge there, and we do take game one. Good battle, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. Dunsparce versus Altaria. Okay, Altaria on the lead. Good lead. Rock Slide, Rollout, beautiful combination. And Altarias, what I've noticed in this meta, they love to pair with Vigoroths and sometimes pair with Lanturns. It makes a lot of sense. They're very comfort picks. They're strong in this meta. They go together well like peanut butter and jelly, but this team is like a butter knife and it's just going to slice right through it. So we're going to go ahead and look to no shield the Sky Attack. I want to be putting pressure on them. So we do go for the Rock Slide here. And then we'll have to see if they decide to shield. If they do, which they actually don't, they decide to no shield. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out right away, as it is going to be a Vigoroth, and well, there's a Lanturn. Vigoroth and Lanturn. So this is good game, right? We have Skeledirge into Vigoroth. We have Palossand into Lanturn here. And you can't ask for anything better. If you guys see these Altaria leads, it's going to be very common to see a Vigoroth. I'm not saying Vigoroth and Lanturn every time. That's not going to be the case. But Vigoroth is a very common one to run with this team. Now, I'm going to go ahead and commit to the full farm down right here with Mudshot because it is going to be close enough. And I should be able to get it without needing to shield, which we do. This is perfect. Now we can just go straight Scorching Sands here against Vigoroth. The switch clock is coming back up, so I'm going to need to swap out after this second Scorching Sand because I actually did an extra fast move there. I don't want to get farmed down. That is how we lose this game. So we do get 2 shields. We counter swap now into Skeledirge, and we're just going to look to go for those disarming voices. And this team, I'm telling you guys, it put in some work. Even against, like I showed you guys with the Vigoroth lead, that was like the hardest lead to come back from. A lot of the times, you guys are going to be facing just a bunch of different stuff. You might face Lanturns, you might face Altarias, you might face Frostlass. I mean, it's all over the place. But you have sometimes super effective damage against everything that you face off against. So this is going to be a good game as we can go ahead and go for Disarming Voice. I was so happy with how this team performed. It's a very traditional ABB team for myself. And like I said at the beginning, I think the key was Dunsparce lead. Good game. All right, moving to the next one. We have a Lanturn lead here. Every single Lanturn that I faced off against today stayed in. And even if it didn't and it swapped out into something like a, if it swaps out into something like a Vigoroth, you have Palisand for the Vigoroth and the back end. Now, this is a Water Gun Lanturn. There's the Vigoroth. Swaps right out. We got Palisand here. So they wanted to soften up the Dunsparce before swapping out, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Palisand is going to do very well here. Now, Vigoroths can still run Bulldoze, and some might be in this meta. They give up some key coverages, but they also pick up better matchups against Palisand. But in this case, this Vigoroth is Body Slam spamming, and we are totally fine with that, as it's just not going to do anything. They're just going to keep going for it. And mind you, this is obviously a bad matchup for them. I think a lot of trainers, because of how powerful Vigoroth is in this meta, are feeling free to run it as a safe swap, and by all means do it. But because of that, there have emerged some very hard counters to it, like Palisand. I talked about it yesterday. If you guys saw my meta guide video, I talked about Palisand specifically, and I was going to run it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm running Palisand for my first team, and Shadow Ball here, boom, nearly one-shots the Cofagrigus, and that's going to be a good game. We can come in with Skeledirge here. I should have just come in with Dunsparce to get the farm down, in all honesty. But we have drill runs now ready to go. We can still win this game with Skeledirge, but we're just a little bit behind on energy because of the wasted 5 turns that I had there with Incinerate. So drill runs now, get the shields. I will give up a shield in order to land another drill run here against the Lanturn. But this should be a good game in all honesty. Yeah, it was Cofagrigus, right? Yeah, Cofagrigus doesn't have a lot of energy. I think I only got maybe like 3 Shadow Claws in. But we land that charge move there, which is totally fine. They will farm us down. Skeledirge, kind of in a tight situation, but Surf, you can survive it, which is good. Now, my opponent having Water Gun means that they're actually not going to be able to get to a second Surf in time. They do decide to swap out into Cofagrigus, so I throw the Disarming Voice, just in case I just miscounted, because I don't want an Incinerate to go through, it not KO, and then they get to a Dark Pulse. So I know I can fast move down Lanturn, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one. Another Lanturn on the lead. It's very common. I had mentioned yesterday that you're going to see it a lot. It is a top performer in this meta. It's a top performer in the Great League. It is free in terms of, like, you don't have to invest in new Pokemon if you already have one built, right? So you're just going to go with something that you got ready to go, and Lanturn's a good pick. But because of that, you know, I'm picking Specialty Cup Pokemon. These are Pokemon that don't typically do well in the Open Great League. Sorry, Skeledirge, I shouldn't be talking bad about you. You got me Legend. But Palisand and Dunsparce, right? Really not seen in Open Great League. but they shine in this specialty cup because of very specific reasons like this. So Lanturn on the lead, we did get a shield right there, and we've already landed a drill run, which is great. They decided to swap out into Vigoroth, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Palisand here. Did a little bit, took too much damage I think there on Dunsparce, but that's okay, as we can go ahead and go for Scorching Sands. And what I love about Scorching Sands too is not only is it a great low energy, like decent hard hitting charge move, but it has a chance to lower your opponent's attack, which it's like adding insult to injury right here against a Vigoroth, like, unfortunately. But they do have Bulldoze, so that actually took me by surprise. I had mentioned earlier that Bulldoze could be an option for Vigoroth in this meta, specifically because of Palisand, but you do give up that coverage with Rock Slide to a lot of Pokemon, maybe Talonflame, Altaria, Skarmory, stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and just commit to the farm down right here. I think I can Mud Shot down because these are only going to be Body Slams. And that way we have double charge moves ready to go. And this is a Lanturn's worst nightmare. A Palisand with max energy ready to go and a Dunsparce on the back end. So we go ahead and go for Scorching Sands right away. They shield. Obviously we go for it again. But they decide to no shield. So boom, we take it out. And there's actually going to be a Diggersby in the back. So this game isn't over, but Diggersby is a Pokemon we can handle. We're just going to swap out into Skeledirge now. It is going to be Quick Attack, which helps out in terms of health for Skeledirge because Mud Shot is super effective. We resist normal type moves, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and just give up shields. Obviously, Scorching Sands are going to be coming through, and we just need to do as many Disarming Voices as possible. And this is what's really cool about Skeledirge. If you guys haven't built it yet, it's relatively new. It came out last season, actually. I know we just started the new season, but it released at the beginning of last season. And I know a lot of trainers, because I've seen you guys in the comments on YouTube that you've come back. You're kind of seeing how Go Battle League is going. Skeledirge is amazing. You definitely want to get yourself one if you can. Good game. All right, next battle we have Skarmory. So we have good neutral options here with Rollout and Rock Slide. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the video. Like, for all this is a Skeledirge big damage sweep or a Palisand big booms, like, I think the MVP of my team was honestly this Dunsparce lead. It was just consistently good. And not just, oh, one set it got some good. I'm talking the whole time. Now we do see a Vigoroth swap in. Went through 4 sets with this team, and the worst lead that I got was a Vigoroth, obviously. And then the rest was like neutral or it was positive for me. Lanturn I would consider neutral because it can actually take us out, right? But it was beautiful. Drill Run and Rock Slide. Now, this Vigoroth obviously is not going to like the Pain Train of Sand coming at it, but we're going to utilize the bulk basically because of our resistances here to make sure we get ourselves down low enough so that I can get to max energy. That way I can throw a Shadow Ball in the back end here versus Skarmory. It will farm us down, but I can at least do a lot of damage. Now, because my Dunsparce is so low here, I'm going to look to throw the Shadow Ball and then swap into Skeledirge because I don't want to get farmed down. And we do swap in. They're stuck in an animation, so they get taken out. And then the final Pokemon is going to be a Haunter. And this is a scary endgame right here. We are just going to, I'm double shielding, obviously, but we're not throwing a charge move. And you may be like, well, why not throw charge moves? They have shields remaining. I would lose a turn of fast move damage. I have to double shield and just go for all fast moves. Haunter is the epitome of a glass cannon, and we do take it out barely. So good game to my opponent right there. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Dunsparce versus Mr. Rime. Now this, hats off to my opponent here. This was a spicy team, an Aerodactyl and a Mr. Rime, and I'm just like, whoa. And mind you, I'm facing very, very strong trainers. These battlers know what they're doing. This is not, you know, the level 1 days where everyone's kind of thrown into the pot and see what happens. No, these are previous legends because of their clothing or their animations that they have. And this trainer's running some spice. So hats off to this trainer. I hope they did well with their team. But we're going to put the Pain Train on them here. I'm going to counter swap now into Palisand in a 2-0 shielding situation here, especially with the Aerodactyl not able to get to charge moves very quickly, and we resist the Rock Throw fast move. We're able to go for Shadow Ball. Boom, down it goes. And then we have a Mr. Rhyme come in, and this is going to be Confusion as well. So we're going to go ahead and wait for them to get fast move locked. That means the animation's going through so that I can throw the Shadow Ball and guarantee the KO. Boom! Down it goes. And the final Pokemon is going to be Jellicent. So we're going to go ahead and go for that next Shadow Ball. And that is going to be a good game. This actually isn't enough to KO for those who may not know. Home back to boom. Not enough to KO. But I decided to no shield this so that I can come in with Skeletor so that my opponent kind of knows what team I was running, because it's always nice to know, like, okay, you get hard lockdown. Could you have had a win con? Good game right there. All right, moving to the next one, we have Altaria on the lead. Obviously positive lead. There's the Vigoroth. We come in with the Palisand. This is like rinse and repeat, everyone. Everyone's running a lot of similar teams. There's a lot of Vigoroths out there. Makes sense. There's a lot of Lanturns. There's a lot of Altarias. This team was cooking today. And like I said, I know it's always a touchy subject. A lot of you believe in the algorithm about bad matchup. Niantic's matchmaking system putting you against bad teams so you stay at 50%, and then that's one side of the fence, and the other side of the fence is like the matchmaking is just based on elo. I'm not gonna, I mean, I've always said I'm on the side of matching against elo, but I can understand people thinking matching against hard covered teams to keep you at 50%. But what I will say is this team just didn't care. This team just put in work. Bad lead, good lead, it didn't matter. I counter swap into Dunsparce here to get ahead on energy, because with Vigoroth out of the game, they likely don't have a great answer. And if it is in fact Lanturn in the back, the Dunsparce here is going to be putting in work against both Altaria and Lanturn. So I decided to shield. I clicked on it, but it wasn't going. I know I didn't shield there, but when I'm battling, I'm like, shield, 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 and it wasn't going. I had just had lunch. Maybe I had something on my finger, but it wasn't shielding. So now I was correct in predicting the potential Lanturn, but I'm actually in a very tough situation where I am behind on health, which I didn't want to be, as a Surf now will KO. So now what I need to do is utilize Skeletor to do what it does best, and that is booming, because we're going to come in with Palisand first, though. I'm going to look to go for a Scorching Sand here to get the final shield, and then we're going to swap out. And because this was a Spark Lanturn, right? So go ahead and go for Scorching Sands. We decided to swap out now into Skeletor because I didn't want to get farmed down. And then we're going to look to double shield here. Hardest hitting move left in the game, I believe, is going to be Surf. So we will respect that and give up the shields for it. And I'm fine with getting hit with a Sky Attack if they do get to it in time, but I don't think they will. So we're just going to go ahead and do one more fast move here. One more fast move, and then go for the Disarming Voice. That way against Altaria, all I need to do is one Incinerate and then throw Disarming Voice. It's super effective damage, right? It's a dragon, and that's going to be a good game, very well played, so we do get to it in time. But yeah, going back to the algorithm talk, I'm not going to judge, right? I'm not going to say you're wrong, I'm right. There is no... Good game. There is no definitive answer. We don't know. But what I will say is this team didn't care. This team put in absolute work. Now we have a Lurantis here on the lead. This is a Pokemon I would consider somewhat of a hard counter. Not really a hard counter. It has access to Superpower, right? But this was, I felt like they wanted to throw Superpower right away, so they did go for Leaf Blade, and they bring in Runerigus. So Runerigus on the field, huge for us. My backline is weak to Runerigus. So we're going to go ahead and just stay in. We're just going to get real quiet here and go, thank you for coming onto the field. Welcome to Go Battle League. This is Dunsparce, and we resist your Shadow Claws. So we're going to go ahead and throw drill runs here. Obviously, my backline, I have Skeletor as a great answer for Lurantis. I have Shadow Ball and Palisand. I do need to watch out for those Leaf Blades. But ultimately, this is looking good. Runerigus as well has to throw Sand Tombs, so that's just not gonna do it. That's not gonna be able to take us out. We go ahead and go for a drill run here. Switch Clock is coming back up for them, but I don't want to get farmed down, so I need to swap into Skeletor here to get ahead on energy. And unfortunately, we can't farm down in time. So I will let this go. It is a Sand Tomb. It is super effective, but it's not enough to KO us. It's barely enough to chip enough health. And we do have a Jellicent come in. So we're going to go ahead and go for Disarming Voice here to get the shield from my opponent, or try to shield bait as best as I can. And we get it. So now they're going to commit to the farm down, obviously. And we get to the Shadow Ball in time. Come on, Skeletors. This is huge. There's so much damage. Boom! See ya. Final Pokemon is Lurantis. And Palossand would have taken it there with Shadow Ball, but they do decide to surrender. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving into the next one. Dunsparce versus Abomasnow here on the lead. Another great lead. Another, like, we'll take it. We got multiple answers for it. And this is Leafage fast move, I believe. Oh, it's a new one. Leafage or Magical Leaf. I can't, I haven't seen it on Abomasnow. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen it in Go Battle League, period. A lot of Pokemon that have that move really aren't running it, but I was quickly reminded that it does have access to Icy Wind now, which is actually pretty huge. The opponent decides to swap out into Girafarig, so we are back into spicy territory here. The Girafarig decides to no shield, so we're going to go ahead and swap into Palossand, as I'm hoping it has Thunderbolt and Psychic Fangs. That's my hope here. We go ahead and go for the Scorching Sands, as I think it's going to do enough neutral damage to KO. And they do decide to shield. So now this is obviously a huge opportunity for me, for Skeletors to take this in the 2-0s. But they have Trailblaze. Boom! I forgot about that. I'm like, oh man, they're using those new moves that I haven't seen in Go Battle League yet, because no one was using it. But Girafarig just boomed me. Now Skeletor's going to go ahead and come in. I will respect the potential damage because of the Trailblaze boost. So I will shield. It is going to be Psychic Fang, so I was right in thinking they had that. The final Pokemon is going to be Talonflame, so we're going to go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball here. And then Abomasnow is going to get deleted, right? Shadow Ball does quite a bit of damage. I do decide to swap out into Dunsparce here to catch the Charge move. And I could have basically shielded and farmed down, looking back at that. Yeah, I could have easily shielded and farmed down. But I'm going to go ahead and come in with Skeledirge and farm down. Give up my final shield, and then we got to be very careful about what we see come onto the field. If it's Abomasnow, we throw Shadow Ball. If it's Girafarig, we look in the top right as well. If you guys don't know, the top right of the screen will show you the typing of the Pokemon. If it's Girafarig, we farm down. Shadow Ball does land, so we get to incinerate this Abomasnow, and then Girafarig is going to go down anyways, and that's going to be a good game, very well played to my opponent. All right, moving to the next one. Wigglytuff on the lead. Okay, so Wigglytuff, we just want to stay in here. Just do as much damage as possible and then come in with Skeledirge and load up on energy, right? So we're going to go ahead and go for Druns. Don't know what they have in the back. If I had to take a guess, maybe a Lanturn, because Wigglytuff's big weakness there's a Vigoroth safe swap, so we're going to come into Palossand. You just got to critically think about what covers they might have. Wigglytuff's biggest counters in this meta are fire. They resist charm. So, you know, that would make sense to have like a Talonflame in the back line. So that's why I thought, you know what, if it's okay if Dunsparce goes down, because we have Shadow Ball answers for that, but it makes sense that they decided to shield and then swap out because they're maybe fearing the Dunsparce. But Rock Slide's right here. Palossand's just doing its thing. We build up to double charge moves. We don't care. We're going to go ahead and take out the Vigoroth. Palossand's whole job today was taking out Vigoroth, and that's exactly what it did, because it's a beautiful hard counter to it. We do see the Wigglytuff come in right away, so we get to throw a free Scorching Sands here, as they are in the 1s, and it does about 50% HP. That's huge. Now, they will charm me down, which is fine, but I'm going to go ahead and come in with Skeledirge, because I resist Icy Wind and Disarming Voice. Or Play Rough or Ice Beam, depending on what they're running. But we resist all the charge moves, and it was Disarming Voice, which is perfectly fine. Final Pokemon is going to be a Palossand. So this is a situation where you need to just go, or I need to just go for double Shadow Balls. You do not want to get caught in the... We have a 2-to-1 shield advantage here, right? You don't want to get caught going for a Disarming Voice, and they decide to no shield because that gives them their win con. So we just go double Shadow Ball. We get the shield. That's totally fine. We're going to go ahead and go for another one. Now, obviously, the Disarming Voice could have gotten that shield, and I get to the Shadow Ball like a turn sooner, but this is the safest way, right? Boom! Down it goes. And then Skeledirge is going to take the Wigglytuff out, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played as we do get to the Disarming Voice. So Skeledirge, able to sweep this one. It sweeped a lot of teams today for me. Did incredibly, incredibly well. I think we have three more battles. Good game. All right, moving into the next one, we do have Lanturn on the lead here. Again, positive matchup in terms of being able to put shield pressure and damage down on this Lanturn when our backline doesn't like it but isn't scared of it, if that makes sense. This is just a free way to get shields because obviously 2 drill runs is a KO. They decide to go for Thunderbolt, which is fine because now I can just go for drill run. I survive anyways. Dunsparce's bulk is really nice. So we're able to get the second drill run. They do decide to shield, which is fine. And then I make a mistake. I feel like did I decide to shield this one? No, I let this one go. Okay. We let the Surf go. We're going to come in with Palisand and just load up on energy. I will get hit with a Surf, which we can survive. It does do quite a bit of damage, but I'm going to go ahead and shield the first one and then look to throw a Scorching Sands to get them before they go the second one. But in this matchup, Palisand can survive one Surf, if you guys were wondering. And so we take out Lanturn. Next Pokemon to come in is going to be a Chestnut, so we can go ahead and go for Shadow Ball. Look to get ourselves the 1-0 shield, and then we're going to unleash this Skeledirge, obviously. We're going to go ahead and swap into that right away, get ahead on energy. They decide to throw the charge move, which is fine. It's all resisted, Frenzy Plant or Superpower. So they decided to go for Superpower. And then I don't know why it said super effective there. And their answer in the back is a Vigoroth. So this is going to be a good game. Skeledirge and Disarming Voice is going to be able to take out both of these Pokemon just because it's just the power that it has. Skeledirge is an absolute monster and just so good. Incinerate got an increase in damage as well this season, so it's just cooking with more heat, you know? And we're going to go ahead and go for the Disarming Voice. I didn't want to get hit with the Rock Slide, so it's just more important to throw the Disarming Voice, get rid of Vigoroth, because one more fast move here against Chestnut, and we have another Disarming Voice, and that's going to be a good game. Skeledirge with this moveset is just, it's nasty. Absolutely nasty. Boom! Down it goes. And that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. Dunsparce versus Lanturn again. You guys are seeing the consistency that I had. They swap into Wigglytuff, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with Skeledirge. Now, this could be a bait. This could be a big bait to draw out exactly what I used, right? Skeledirge here. So we're going to go ahead and no shield. And my concern is that they have something like an Shadow Alolan Ninetales in the back, or some kind of other Charmer, right? That would be a big concern, because now I wouldn't have any resistances to that. So we're going to go ahead and just commit to this farm down here, not throw a charge move. We have energy, which is huge. We do see the Lanturn come back in. This is Water Gun Lanturn as well, as you guys saw with the fast move animation there. And the Shadow Ball doesn't do that much damage because of the Icy Wind, but I can get to another one just in time. So this is huge. This is a lot of damage that I desperately need to land. Dunsparce now. I mean, I could come in with Palisand, but I decided to come in with Dunsparce, and it's actually going to be a Whimsicott in the back. So it was, in fact, another fairy. Whenever you see fairy safe swaps, it's like it begs. It's just, it's like an itch that you know is there, that it's 2 fairies on the back. And if you see a Charmer safe swap, there's another one back there, or it's a Shadow Victory Bell, one of the two. But in this case, it was another fairy, not a Charmer, but it's going to be Whimsicott. So this is going to be a tough game for us to come back from. I really got to manage my energy well here. So this Rock Slide is going to go a lot of places. So I will decide to shield the Seed Bomb. I'm going to go for the Rock Slide now, hoping that I get that final shield. I'm putting that pressure on them to want to give up that final shield, and we get it, so I swap into Palisand, and now we're in farm mode. We are in load up energy mode. I think Seed Bomb is the hardest hitting move left in the game. I'm just going to gamble that it is. I know I can survive a Surf. Seed Bomb you can survive, but we do see the Lanturn come back in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Scorching Sands right away. I'm not messing around with these water guns or certain nothing. Just get it out of there. Boom. And now the Whimsicott coming back in. We go for the Shadow Ball, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. So the Dunsparce did a very good job getting that final shield for me. Boom. And that is going to be a good game to my opponent. All right. Moving. Oh, that was the final one. Yeah, we are deep into this video. This was a long one. This team did incredibly well for me today, everyone. You guys saw all the different leads that I had, and the MVP, I'm telling you guys, it was Dunsparce. It just had such good coverages against this meta. The Skeledurs did great at sweeping. Palisand was a beautiful hard answer to the Vigoroth safe swaps that are very common, and Vigoroth was commonly paired with Lanturn, which means you have Scorching Sands on the back end. It was so much fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.